Welcome back to another episode on the podcast. This week, we are talking about the transits for the month of May. Now, as a May baby, May Taurus baby, I absolutely love May. And astrologically, May is not going to be as intense as April was, but we do have some pretty significant transits happening this month. And I sat with the transits in a way that I don't always sit with them. And so I'm actually going to start with a little bit of a channeled message. So I wrote my notes for the transits of the month, and then I just sat and I channeled this message. So May is going to be bookended by two full moons. We have a full moon in Scorpio, and then on May 1st, and then May 31st, we have a full moon in Sagittarius. Now, Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Scorpio is depth. It is the occult. It rules the eighth house. It is ruled by both Mars and Pluto. It is the deep, dark, subconscious things that we don't always want to face. It is merging with other people. It is other people's resources and finances. And we're going to see a lot of that in this moon. Now, this month, Pluto is being activated by our mind, by the ego, by our drive. Chiron is also being activated. So we're going to get a little bit into this, but Chiron is being activated through the last few lunations. So the last new moon we had was conjunct Chiron. The full moon that will be this Friday, May 1st, Mercury is exactly conjunct Chiron. And then the new moon in Taurus, Mars is exactly conjunct Chiron. So we're having Pluto activations and we're having Chiron activations. Now we know Pluto is death, transformation, and rebirth. We are going through something wherever and also Aries, but wherever Aquarius is in your chart, we are activating and transforming this part of your life. So whether it's, first house, second house, third house, whatever house it's in, identify that house. And that's the area being activated. So first house is the self. This is the body. This is your own personal identity. Second house is self-worth. It is resources, your personal resources. Third house is communication. It's siblings. It's close neighbors. It's writing. It's journalism. Fourth house is your home, your ancestors, your inner work, your inner world, your space, right? Your family that makes you sort of feel comfort and safety in your emotional experience. Fifth house is creativity. It is play. It is children. It is sort of that dating phase of romance. Sixth house is your body, your health and daily routines. Okay, it is the body, but it is health and daily routines that support the body. So it is work, like your day-to-day work, not so much your career, but your day-to-day work. Seventh house is marriages, long-term relationships, any long-term relationships, really. Eighth house, again, death, transformation, rebirth, inheritances, sexuality, the things that we don't want to talk about, the occult. Ninth house is philosophy, expanding the mind, education, teaching. 10th house is your public persona. This is more your career, right? That area of your life. 11th house is friends, sort of like your soul tribe. It's technology, innovation, where we're just a little bit different. And 12th house is all things hidden from us. It is enemies. It is mental health. It is addictions. It is the subconscious. So wherever that Aquarius is for you, is the area that we're being transformed in. So it can feel challenging, but coming into our body, to our center, to our anchor, slowing down, which is what May is really asking us, specifically Taurus season is really asking us to slow down, to connect with the healing power of the earth, and most importantly, to remember. This word came through so much. Remember. May is asking us to remember on a cellular level. This is activating our cellular memory. Remember, we are all connected. Everything is consciousness. Be aware and remember that we all came to Earth at this specific time for this specific reason. It's important and it's powerful. I'm really reading The Convoluted Universe, Book 3 by Dolores Cannon. And there's a little section in there that she talks about this, that every soul, there are so many souls on Earth right now, because what's happening on Earth right now is going to be impacting everything in the universe, everything in every universe. It's impacting everything. There's a very big shift right now happening. And we all came here for this specific reason. And remember that you get to choose. You get to choose your timeline. So take the lessons and work with them, right? Be in them, be in the body, feel the love, feel the pain, feel the Gus. So I heard this, I love this, God, universe, source, Gus inside your body. It's there, right? Like you're connecting with it. It's guiding us if we allow it to. It's for you. It might not feel like it, but remember, you get to choose what and who you're giving your energy and attention to. You literally get to choose. Be so aware of what you're giving your attention and energy to. Especially with Gemini, especially with Uranus having moved into Gemini, this is our mind. This is our perspective. What are you giving your attention and energy to? This is a month of remembering the earth, remembering your connection with God, universe, source, Gus, and food. Food came through strongly too, right? Pay attention to what nourishes you. Pay attention to how your body feels in response to certain foods. Pay attention to what you're putting in your body. This is really, really important as well. So that's kind of like the energetic blueprint or fingerprint frequency of this month. So we're going to dive into it. And remember, there will be in-depth posts on Substack when it comes to the full moons, new moons. You can go subscribe over there. Come back here as well. I will be going over them as they come. And yeah, the Astro Design Collective is a little Telegram channel that I'm dropping audios for astrology transits, human design transits, channelings. There's a space in there to share, to ask questions. And so, yeah, it's a really great space. I'm in there pretty much daily, just dropping information. And so, yeah, all that is there. Subscribe again to the Substack where I do posts. And then if you subscribe, you get an audio from me, really in depth about each lunation. And Holistic Human Design Academy starts Friday, May 1st, which is the day of the full moon in Scorpio, the day after this comes out. So if you want to join there, you can head down in the show notes. Everything that you need is down there. Click all the links. So let's get into it. Okay, so May 1st, we have our full moon in Scorpio. This is happening in gate 44, which is the gate of awareness. It's happening at 12:23 p.m. Central Standard Time at 11 degrees and 20 minutes. And Mercury so Scorpio is a fixed water sign. There's so much depth to Scorpio. There are different layers and archetypes of Scorpio. We have the scorpion, the eagle, and the dove, are the three different kind of archetypes of Scorpio. Now, the scorpion is kind of what where Scorpio gets misrepresented, let's say, or misunderstood. Scorpio is really deep. Scorpio wants to merge, not just know people, like it wants to merge. When we think about sex, which is Scorpio rules the sex organs. When we think about the act of sex, we are essentially merging our bodies together. So it's like you can't even get closer than that, right? And in the moment of orgasm, we're almost like taken away from our body. We're in the state of just like complete and utter presence in the moment. And so Scorpio, a lesson for Scorpio in life is to trust, to learn to trust. The scorpion archetype is more that stinger, right? It kind of can be manipulative. It can be very untrusting, which is sort of where we get that bad reputation when it comes to Scorpio. But there is so much depth here and so much beauty and so much feeling that often I find Scorpios to be quick to anger. And it's a mask for what they're really feeling underneath because they don't want to actually admit to what they're feeling underneath. But if Scorpios can be vulnerable, Brene Brown describes courage as the ability to be vulnerable because it is hard to be vulnerable, right? Like that is courageous to actually bare your soul to another human being. During this full moon, so full moons are when the sun and the moon are opposite. So our emotions and our ego are kind of like coming, it's like obviously opposition. They're opposite of each other. So it's sort of this push-pull energy. Any opposite in astrology holds massive lessons for each other. So this is the Taurus and the Scorpio axis. Taurus is the body, the senses, the material. And again, Scorpio is relationships. So they're both kind of relationships and money in a different variations, different dynamics, we'll say, polarities. And so they each hold lessons to each other. So while the gate here, so while the moon is in gate 44, which is the gate of awareness, gate 44 is in the spleen. So it is about fear, survival, intuition, health, right? All that's held in the spleen is very much focused on the tribe. So awareness, it's like a memory of what has worked before material to bring us resources. And it's sort of looking to others to what they can provide to the tribe. So tribal energy always holds like what it's kind of like this tit for tat energy, like what can you give me? I'll give you if you give me kind of thing. There's this barter sort of energy with it. Now, gate 44, its opposite is gate 26, and this is the channel of the entrepreneur. So, gate 26 is the gate of the salesman, right? And gate 26 combined with the spleen, right? The ego and the spleen, gate 26, gate 44. Again, this makes for entrepreneurial sort of energy. Like you have the ability to see what people can provide for you, how can they can resource you, and then you can sell to anybody, right? It's sort of that selling ketchup to a lady in white gloves or popsicle to a lady in white gloves, whatever, and type of energy. So while this is happening in gate 44, we have two significant aspects that are happening. Mercury is conjunct Chiron. So remember, Chiron is our wounded healer. Chiron is the healer that cannot heal himself. And so he heals everybody else. Mercury is our mind. It's communication. It's what we're focusing on. So this is bringing up a lot of our core wounds collectively. Chiron in Aries is the wound around who we learned we are. I had to write this down. I was like channeling this at the gym. Chiron in Aries is the wound of who we learned we are. So we're really trying to see in the first 7 years of life what we picked up on, what's ours, what's not ours, what's conditioned, what was the beliefs of a parent that we took on as our own. This is really giving us the ability to reprogram those. Because remember, Mercury is a messenger of the gods. Mercury can transcend from the heavens all the way down to the underworld, which is our subconscious. So when we're bringing our subconscious in with this wounded healer in Aries, with a Scorpio full moon, this is really giving us the potential to really dive deep. Mercury can go deep. Mercury will meet you where you're at. And so this is a great opportunity to do the work. Might be difficult. It might be so much emotions coming up. It might be challenging. It might be painful, but can we be with it? And then Venus is also sextile Saturn. Sextiles are more supportive. And Venus is love. Venus is relationships. Venus is the material. And Saturn is restriction. So this is relationships and restriction, right? Saturn is in Aries and it's still conjunct Neptune. Venus is still in Taurus. So this is a body. We're maybe feeling restricted, maybe being able to set boundaries. There's something there. And the last thing, so it's also forming a yod, which I am not like a yod expert, but I know that the apex of the yod, so it's kind of like, so we have Saturn, it looks like a kite formation. So we have Saturn and Venus are in a sextile. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm kind of trying to like draw it on a sextile. And then it's almost like a triangle. And then they're both in conjunct the moon. So the moon down here is the apex of the yod. So our emotions are like literally guiding this. And I'm just going to read the Sabian symbol. I love Sabian symbols. Sabian symbols aren't astrology per se, but they're kind of channeled based on the degrees. So the Sabian symbol for 12 degrees, so you round up anything that's 11. So anything that's 1 minute. So like if it's 11 degrees in 1 minute, it's 12 degrees. If it's 11 degrees in 0 minutes, it's 11 degrees. So we're channeling this for 12 degrees of Scorpio. A young man with a frail body, but a beautiful and noble face. Old roots crumbling, new self emerging. Historical underpinnings not very strong. The vision of what can be burns bright and clear. You've been held back a long time by questions about health and safety, viability and durability. Always seeming on the way out. Yet the internal image of who you are intended to become looms large and seeks to become incarnated. The battle between what could never be and what must emerge. The underlying feeling tone is that somehow, barely, despite all odds, the infinite one can be born directly in the shell of the one who could not be. And then all bets are off. Absolutely anything is possible. I love this. Like how deep and how empowering is this degree? Okay, so moving on, May 2nd, Mercury moves into Taurus. This is really asking us to slow down the mind. We've had so much through Aries that's been asking us, like, we've been wanting to move forward. We've been wanting to take action. We've been wanting to go. We've been wanting to go, go, go. And now Mercury, the mind, moves into Taurus, and it's like, can we just slow down? Slow down. I don't know if you felt it over the weekend. I was so exhausted on Sunday night. Like I fell asleep before 9:30 and I slept all night until my alarm went off in the morning. I felt so good yesterday on Monday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. And so this is sort of like our body in Taurus wants us to slow down, but so much in energy in Aries is still like, let's go, 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 go. So when Mercury moves into Taurus, slow down. Make sure you're grasping concepts. This is the thing with Mercury and Taurus. It really wants to have a strong hold on something, to really understand something before it communicates it, before it writes it, before it shares it. So take time to really understand, to actively listen, right? Take time. On the 4th, Mars in Aries is square Jupiter in Cancer. So Mars, again, loves to be in Aries. Jupiter in Cancer is expanding our ability to be in our emotional experience, to understand our emotional experience, to feel safe in our emotional experience. And Mars is drive, it's movement, it's forward, right? And so this can be challenging because where we want to feel safe in our body, Mars is like, let's go, 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 which might not feel super safe. So this is an internal challenge that if we can harmonize the two of these, or just meet the lesson that it's showing us, right? With these two energies, this is both about initiation because they're both cardinal signs, but there is some sort of stickiness around that. May 5th, Mercury in Taurus is square Pluto in Aquarius, transforming the mind, right? Slow down, integrate, alchemize your thoughts and patterns. Again, squares are a little bit challenging, but it's always showing us something. It's giving us something to do to transform that, especially with Pluto here. May 6th, Pluto stations retrograde at 5 degrees and 30 minutes of Aquarius. Again, we went over the houses in your chart. So identify where Aquarius is in your chart. Pluto is going to be retrograde. Now, we've had a little, like a month or so, over a month. Well, yeah, like a month. So Mercury moved out of its shadow phase April 9th. So we've had about a month. We've had about a month of completely like no retrograde planets. So we've had a lot of forward movement. So Pluto stations retrograde. Now remember with retrogrades, especially outer planets, the most intense times of retrogrades are when they start and when they stop. So for a few days, we might be feeling sticky. Again, Pluto is really deep, really transformative. Who knows what's going to come, but it's sort of like this shaking up energy. And Pluto over time will bring things to the surface. So there might be things coming up, but retrogrades internalize energy. So what we're needing to face, what we're needing to see is going to come up around this area of your chart. May 10th, the sun in Taurus is sextile Jupiter in Cancer. I love this. This feels so optimistic, so supportive. Yes, Pluto just stationed retrograde, but this is kind of giving us some brightness, some optimism, some opportunity in our month to really like work with this energy, right? May 12th, Mercury in Taurus is sextile Jupiter in Cancer. So again, it's following the sun, expanding the mind, material, senses, right? Safety, and again, really slowing down. Jupiter will support you in this. Jupiter wants you to be in your body and feeling your emotions and like being with it and moving through it. And then May 14th, Mercury is conjunct the sun. This is known as a cazimi. And in Mercury retrograde cycles, it will hit a cazimi while it's in retrograde, and then it hits a cazimi when it's out of retrograde, and then it's going to retrograde again, I think in June, if I'm not mistaken, because it retrogrades in Cancer. And then it's going to meet the sun where we're going to get more clarity and so on and so forth. So Mercury meets the sun, a couple times each cycle. And then on May 16th, we have our new moon in Taurus at 3 p.m. This is gate 8, where Uranus has been. This is 25 degrees and 57 minutes. And we have a little stellium here. So the sun, the moon, and Mercury are conjunct in this new moon, and they're sextile to Jupiter. So this is so beautiful and so positive and so supportive because, again, Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Taurus is like the most earthiest of the earth signs because it is fixed. It is digging its heels in, and it is like, nope, that's why Taurus is very much like Mama Gaia, right? And then it's ruled by Venus, which is like the archetype of Aphrodite. We have this really sensual, beautiful, feminine sort of like, like I see this visual of like that statue or that sculpture of Aphrodite, but like picture it like in the forest and the vines are weaving around it. That's literally like Mother Nature. And so this is so much of what this is like being, again, everything has a shadow side. Everything has lessons it needs to learn. Taurus's lesson is to let go of material things because it can be very material. And I was reading a book. I actually wish I had grabbed it in here because I'm probably not going to actually, you know what? I'm going to pause this and I'm going to grab it so that we can, I don't even know how to pause this because it's not really letting me. Recording settings. Nope. Okay. So we're just going to cut this out. Okay. What's actually hilarious is the book was literally right behind me. I just went in the other room and I was like, what book was it? But okay, so the lesson for Taurus is to let go of the material. And there's this little, I guess, like parable that I wanted to read that I recently read that is so beautiful and so resonant because as a Taurus, like I definitely can fall into that like material thing, especially I have Venus square Jupiter and it's opposite Uranus. I have a little T square, but okay, so it's talking about, okay, so to illustrate the point, okay, so this is a story of a Buddhist master who was getting on in years and noticed that one of his favorite disciples still had not reached full enlightenment and bliss. Now, this is coming from the book Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. So this disciple had been with him for 3 decades, had been totally devoted to his master and strict with his practices, and yet he still had not reached that highest state. One day the master said to his disciple, "Come, I am going on a pilgrimage, and you may come with me." They walked for miles into the outlying mountain range. The days became weeks, then a month passed, and still they continued on their journey. One day the master stopped and, pointing to a hill in the distance, said to his disciple, "Do you see that mountaintop?" The mist was just clearing from the top of the mountain, revealing a large castle at its summit, shimmering in the rays of light. Disciple says, "Master, yes." The master says, "And do you see that home standing on the summit of the mountain?" The disciple says, "Yes, master." The master responds, "For many lifetimes you have desired a home, and that desire has remained unsatisfied. It is the final thread that binds you and blocks your enlightenment and unending joy. None of the practices I have given you have dissolved that deep desire. Therefore, it must be manifested. This is your home now. You own it." And in that instant, the disciple became fully enlightened. Some worldly or material desires we can dismiss simply because they aren't that important to us. After a time, we can let them go. Others will not leave us until we have manifested them on some level. Once the personality has been successfully integrated, desires that are of lesser importance begin to fade away, and those that demand manifestation can be more easily obtained in the material world. I just love this because we think in the spiritual context, we need to leave all of the material desires behind. And yes, those desires that are coming from the ego, that's one thing, but actual true soul desires, like if your soul came here to be abundant and to be rich and to have things in this life, that is this little lesson, you have to actualize those things, right? And so the point being that if there is a desire for some sort of material thing that keeps on through the years, not passing momentary things that we grasp onto and just like impulsively purchase, but like actual desires, once you achieve those things, like some material things we need to achieve, right? So that's sort of like the lesson here. So again, be in the body, the new moon, again, we're talking about the new moon, be in the body, listen to your body, indulge your senses, come into the unseen and unknown, and trust what your body is guiding you towards. Now, the Sabian symbol for 26 degrees is grotesque rocks in a sand garden. The inward image and the outward reflection are worlds apart, building up inside to a state of being that carries immense challenges. You see your own personal nature as an objective, universal force to be reckoned with, and persist in seeing egocentrically. Preferring massively your own company, contained within yourself, imaginatively self-enchanted, yet also capable of radical turnabouts and rebirths, awakenings false and true, great and small, knowing yourself to be somebody special, self-consciousness enshrined, a dead end or a path, oblivious or realizing the way of things, getting out of the way or being squarely in the way, self-importance and its overcoming. This feels very dualistic. And as we like move into Gemini season, Gemini is full of dualism, but this is, about the material. It's like, is it the ego or the material? So May 17th, Mercury enters Gemini and it conjuncts Uranus because Uranus is at 0 degrees of Gemini. Mercury enters Gemini. This is fast. Mercury rules Gemini, so our mind is working really fast, especially with Uranus. I see Uranus as like this just like pulsing, like vibrating being. So it's kind of just like, it gets us like buzzy almost. So the mind might be having sudden insights, sudden shocks, sudden truths, like seeing things. Discernment is so huge right now. I was watching Jesse Eccles was talking about on Instagram how when Uranus moved into Gemini, there were so many different astrologers had so many different times and dates for when it happened. But this is like the confusion because remember, we still have Neptune in Aries, right? We still have Neptune and Saturn conjunct in Aries. And so there is still some sort of confusion happening collectively. And Uranus and Gemini requires so much discernment. Like think about AI, people are using ChatGPT. Like nobody knows, like if you don't know, this is where, especially when it comes to ChatGPT and astrology and human design, like they're beautiful tools, but you have to have a solid knowledge of these systems to be able to utilize ChatGPT because it doesn't fully, it won't, it sometimes gives misinformation. And if you don't know and you're repeating that information, that you don't know what you don't know, essentially, right? So anyway, so that's like huge on discernment. May 18th, Mars enters Taurus and Venus enters Cancer. Mercury is sextile to Neptune. So Mercury and Neptune, this is like Jessica Lynetto always says, like when Mercury and Neptune are together, like don't do psychedelic drugs because Neptune is mind altering substances and Mercury is the mind. So we're really enhancing the effects of the mind and what we're perceiving, what we're thinking. And sextiles are supportive. So this, can be really supportive, but also it's still going to give us a little bit of fog. We're not really going to be able to see super clearly with this because it is Neptune. Mars entering Taurus, Mars is fast. It rules Aries. It's the god of war. Taurus, not so much. Taurus is slow. It's the body. It rules Venus. This is really like masculine, feminine dynamics. We really have to find that balance. Taurus sometimes wants to be slow. Taurus wants to do its thing and it wants to sit. And Mars is like, let's go, go, go. And Taurus is like, can we not? Can we just relax? Like, calm down. Because if we indulge Mars too much, the body is going to we're going to burn ourselves out. The body's going to get so tired. So throughout all this time, like really listening to the body when, we have all this stuff in Taurus, like really paying attention to the body and honoring the body. And Venus moves into Cancer. I like Venus and Cancer. Venus is relationships. Venus is the material. Venus is senses, self-worth. And Cancers are in a world, right? Cancer can be a little moody, right? Cancer with that hard shell where it keeps people out, but when it does let you in. And again, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it is moody because it's always changing. Its moods are always changing. So Venus and Cancer can be a little bit more moody than some of the other ones, but just flowing with it, right? May 19th, Mercury trine Pluto. Mercury trine Pluto. So what came up during the square that was earlier in the month, those themes might be coming back up again. We might have more clarity on them. We're given another opportunity to work on them in a really supportive way. And then Venus in Cancer sextiles Mars in Taurus. This is sensual, sexual, intimate, because again, Venus, divine feminine, Mars, divine masculine, come together, again, finding that balance. But this could be really beautiful energy. May 20th, the sun moves into Gemini, the twins duality, where Uranus is sitting right now, right? Gemini rules the third house. It is ruled by Mercury. This is close neighbors. This is fact-finding, curiosity, siblings, that kind of information, communication, journalism, all that kind of stuff of the mind, right? May 22nd. So the sun conjuncts Uranus. I put the sun conjuncts Gemini. I'm fairly certain I meant Uranus. So this could be intense, right? Gemini is here to shock us to sudden truths, awakenings. This is the sun, the ego, when it shines the brightest and everything. And so things might get a little bit electrifying during this, right? Like our mind might be doing a lot. Mercury is sextiling Saturn on the same day, which is very restrictive. So in a day when Uranus is activating the sun and the mind, right? Like this could be a really intense day because yes, sextiles are supportive, but again, this is Saturn, which is restrictive. It wants boundaries. It's like, slow down, like let's put the brakes on a little bit. And May 24th, the sun sextiles Neptune. Again, foggy illusion. Are we getting clarity? Like, is the sun, highlighting, being able to like put light through the fog? Just like noticing what comes at them. May 25th, Mars in Taurus, square Pluto in Aquarius, fixed, stubborn, explosive, but we want to be slow, right? Earth and air, fast and slow. This is very dynamic energy. This is a square, so it is challenging. Again, explosive is a word that's often used with this. It is in Taurus. So Taurus wants us to be safe. It wants us to be stable and secure and all those things. So Taurus might, if we can really anchor into the body and anchor into that Taurus energy, this might keep it a little even, keeled, balanced, maybe. Is that the word? We'll see. But really intentional movement. This is transformative power, right? If we allow it to. May 26th, the sun in Gemini, trine Pluto in Aquarius. So this works together, right? The mind, we're transforming the mind and reality, working on this. Like Uranus and Gemini is dramatically going to be shifting the way that we perceive the world. May 28th, Venus in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries. Again, restrictive, difficulty in relationships with the material, challenging our inner safety and security, setting boundaries, right? Like we might be being asked to set boundaries to protect our home and in our world, right? We could be defensive, we could be really protective. We don't want to get too caught in that, but there's lessons there that we could learn. And then finally, the last thing of the month, May 31st, full moon in Sagittarius. Full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. It rules the ninth house of expanding the mind, higher education. It's really optimistic, it's expansive. The downside of Sagittarius is that it can sometimes be so onto the next, it doesn't want to sit with its emotions. Full moons are illuminating. So we want to see things, right? That's happening at 3:45 a.m. It's happening in gate 9, the gate of details, the gate of focus, 9 degrees and 55 minutes of Sagittarius. During this full moon, so the sun is in Gemini, the moon is in Sagittarius. There's always lessons, right? Like Gemini is that sort of curiosity, playful, fact-finding. Sagittarius is like, think bigger. What is the purpose of the world? What is the purpose of the universe? What is our purpose? Why are we here? Kind of like really big philosophical questions. There's a sextile, sextiles Pluto and trine Saturn and Neptune, kind of really activating this little setup here, these planets. And it's asking us to focus like one step at a time. Don't trip over your feet to get to the end goal, but like, what can you do right now? There's one thing that you can do, one foot in front of the other. That's what gate 9 is all about. Don't get distracted by the big picture. Just look down at your feet, right? Gate 9 is like, we can look to the top of the mountain and feel so overwhelmed by how far we have to climb. Like, oh my gosh, it's so high up. What am I going to do? Where it's like, okay, I'm just going to take one step in front of the other. I was at the gym today. My friend was training me and I was like, we were doing Bulgarian split squats, but my foot was in a TRX thing. So it was like, it was way harder than a regular Bulgarian split squat. And we were on our third set. And I literally was going to tell him, like, I can't give you 12 of these. Like, I can't. My legs will not allow 12 right now. And before I even said it, I was like, no, I am strong. I am capable. Like, let's just focus on one at a time. One, I don't know if you can hear the trash is coming. My dog's probably going to go crazy. But it's that idea of like, we're just going to focus on one split squat at a time. I'm not going to worry about all 12 of them, one at a time. And sure enough, I was able to do 12 on both sides. Yes, I was shaking by the end of it, but I was like, I got this, right? So it's that kind of energy, that one foot in front of the other. And then the Sabian symbol for 10 degrees of Sagittarius, a star turning many different colors. Bedazzled by the lights, intoxicated with the display, amazed and stunned by the spectacle, you are your own audience, your own accompanist, your own shadow catcher, prone to excess in all things, in a release of spirits unending, becoming roles, worlds, waves of presenting self, taking karmic episodes of the past and replaying them in another variation. Give it over to the senses, body charged, chaotic, and commanding, taking life through all its shifts and nuances with easy and spectacular capacity. You feel somewhat at the mercy of the shadow that comes back to haunt. Effortless grace and subtle burnout. For there is more than this, and it will not come unless this does. For there is more than this, and it will not come unless this does consume itself and makes way for the unknown as the only place to go when the excitement wears off. I like this one. Bedazzled by the lights, intoxicated with the display, amazed and stunned by the spectacle, right? Like Sagittarius is always looking for the positive. It's always looking for that kind of stuff. So that's May. That is May. It feels, I wouldn't say exciting, but transformative, right? Especially in the first half of May, we're really activating. I mean, we're activating Pluto kind of throughout the month, but the first half of May, we have Chiron activated a few times, and Chiron's going to move into Taurus. Let me see when. Oh, I put my whole thing in here. Okay, so it's gonna move into Taurus next month in June 19th. It's gonna move into Taurus, and then we have Mercury retrograde, and then July is crazy. So this month really feels like, again, that call to remember, the call to anchor into our body, to listen to our body. Listen to your body is so important right now. Listen and honor it. I think that's all I have to say. Just really listen and honor it. Again, follow and subscribe on the Substack, because I'm going to have fully in-depth full moon, new moon posts being sent out, and much more. I talk about all kinds of things on there. So you can go follow for all astrology, human design, spirituality stuff. Astro Design Collective, daily drops in there. And Holistic Human Design Academy starts May 1st. Thank you so much for being here, for listening. Share with a friend if it resonates. If you know somebody who loves astrology and wants to know the transits, rate, review, subscribe. It really, really, really helps. Just Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, it's literally those 5 stars. And just click them, leave a comment if you like. And I will talk to you all soon.